The nation is under siege. The nation is under siege.
Good evening. This would be Divided We Stand. If you're new to what you're seeing, this is Divided We Stand. Yes, indeed. The political channel on YouTube. You can find us there very easily. Just type in Divided We Stand and do a little bit of looking for politics, and you'll see us. We ask that you subscribe to our page. We're not monetized. We're not looking for any money. No, we're just regular Joes and Daves and Bryans and such. Also, if you are on Facebook, we have a Facebook group page, which is pretty popular. We'd like you to become a member there. Also, just join us and we'll approve as long as you're not a bot or a Trumper. We're good with that. We're broadcasting tonight from Bridgeton, New Jersey via Arlington, Virginia. You see we have a lot of people already jumping in here. We see Bella. We see Anthony. We see Jeff. We see Sandy. Sandy, how you doing? Good to see you. And who else is there? Joey, I'm sure will show up. In any case, it's that time for me to introduce our, I don't know what we want to call him. He's certainly not a dilettante, but he does do a lot of different things. He's a journalist, former journalist. Maybe he's kind of a journalist because he's a podcaster these days. He was a teacher. He was a tour guide. He was a musician. He was a troublemaker at times, and he still holds that title. That would be our David Price from Arlington, Virginia. Dave,
did you just say I was a dildo or something? Your words were garbled, kind of Trumpian.
Yes, indeed.
Something dildo or something.
Whatever you feel you want to be expressed.
Well, let's get right to it. Okay. Inquiring minds want to know, why is the show going on at 9:30? Well, it's a 9:00 show.
Right
now. Sometimes things.
He's speaking the truth right now, by the way. I will admit.
Sometimes things don't go as you plan. For example, we'll talk kind of at length tonight, I suppose, about Donald Trump's fiasco in front of black journalists this week. And that also was delayed by time. And the thing was that Trump lied about why it was delayed. He said that the sponsors were having trouble with their cameras. And that's not what it was. He was refusing to go on as long as the show was going to be fact-checked in real time. So he lied, which is what he does well, about this. But one thing I will say about Brian, ladies and gentlemen, he and I have our differences from time to time, but he is an honest man. So when I reached him, wondering, hadn't heard from him by 5 of 9, I called him, and he said it was just 2 words, and he felt that was reason enough, that it was supportive, that there were no problems with it. And ladies and gentlemen, what he said was, and I'll never forget these words as long as I live.
Okay, I'm waiting.
I forgot. Now, let's look at that for a moment. We've been doing this show over 200 times. Granted, we have moved it around a few times. It's been Saturday and it's been Sunday, and we do have once in a while a live midweek show. But I would think after doing something for, did I say more than 200 times, that you might have,
the exact
232, that you might have an inkling of what time. Well, of course, you didn't even have an inkling of what day. And what were you doing? Oh, you were working out.
I was zoning while I was working out, listening to music and doing Russian.
Well, let me. Is it the type of music that like that dude you like, the guitar player, Holsworth?
No.
does
I
in
don't
the
listen to
beginning of the show?
Holsworth when I'm working out. I honestly, I listen to like things like Shaka Khan and Rufus. I need to get my energy pumped, and so I listen to that kind of stuff. Janet Jackson, things you wouldn't expect me to listen to. I listen to. I mean, there are times when I listen to Russian music and things like that, but I need to have some type of bass drive to get
So,
myself going.
but just in case people miss this, we are late tonight because, in the immortal yet true words of Brian Weinstein, I forgot. Is that correct?
I forgot. I absolutely forgot. I did remember up to around 12 midday today.
Well, let me ask you then: if you started misremembering
Right.
around noon, right?
Right.
Obviously, it wasn't just your workout that did it to you. So, would you recount for the people what great adventures you had that made you forget that you had
Well,
a
you
show
know what?
to
Now
do
that I
tonight?
think, but I remember looking at the clock on my stove, and I remember I said I could get 3 or 4 hours left. I remember that. But what happened
Mhm.
was, I'm very attuned to exercise, so I always do at least an hour of exercise a day, and I waited a little bit of time. I was actually going to go outside, but it was getting dark. It was around 7:30, and we only have about 45 more minutes of light. So I said, "Well, I'll just do the treadmill." So I put the earbuds on, and I went into that zone, which is a good thing
But,
for
but
me.
but you said, now wait a minute. Now wait a minute. You said, if I heard you correctly, that you usually do about an hour of exercise, correct?
Yeah, a little bit more, but yeah, roughly.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, around an hour, and that means you finished your exercise, give or take, 9:15, or I mean 9 o'clock, maybe, right? Something like that.
Right. I
But
mean, it
so
varies, but right.
so that means no, but that means then it probably started around 8. So you said you looked at the clock around noon.
No, around noon, and I think even at 6, I said, "Okay, I've got 3 or 4 more hours to go."
Well, now wait a minute.
Oh,
You either have
we have a comment. We have a comment. Gary's saying, "Get to it."
hey Gary, get a life. Here we go. All right, this is
Okay.
important shit, Gary. Listen,
Okay.
here you go.
You have your orders, Mr. Price.
Well, now I'm not going to do anything.
Right. He's going to do it to piss Gary off.
Now, what we have here, Brian, is failure of commitment. What you did again is something that Donald Trump does, and I think we pointed out. That should be pointed out. You apparently
Failure
tonight.
of discipline. It was. I mean, I still was disciplined to do my workout, but the discipline to really really focus on what I have on Sunday nights. That was my problem. I am disciplined, but I do get sidetracked, and you know that. You know that we can be sitting there at the dinner table, and you and Judy come over. Sometimes I'll just start blurting out laughing because I am in a completely different zone. You remember the last time you came over? I started laughing because I was thinking something funny while you're speaking about something that wasn't funny at all, and you said something to the effect, "Something's bad wrong with you."
Well, that's really where I wanted to go with this. So ladies and gentlemen, this was just a way to let you know that Brian forgot.
I forgot. I did.
Now,
Forget.
do you think
But
Joe
hey,
Biden
look,
forgot?
I'm ready. I'm ready to go on.
You're ready to
though,
go now. All right. So finally,
All
he's
right.
ready to go on. I want to get him more.
And by the way,
in-depth
we
here.
have more people now at the beginning of the show than ever. So maybe this inane conversation is what they want to hear.
That is exactly what they want to hear. All right. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? You're in New Jersey. Let's talk about Bruce Springsteen and Donald Trump. Mr. Trump put Springsteen in the news. Did you see his quote?
Is this? I don't know, but is this about using his music again or no?
No, not about using his music. However, we'll come to that in a moment. No. So, Mr. Trump likes to speak, obviously, at his rallies. And this is how he brought Springsteen in. Let's see. I got to look at it a minute. I want to get it right, so I'll actually read it.
Dave, let me interrupt you one last time here.
Yes.
We were up to 19, and as soon as we said, "Let's get started," we went down to 9.
Well, I think your numbers were false before.
Yeah, probably.
Kamala has got to get entertainers because people start leaving as soon as she opens her mouth. Hillary Clinton used to do that too, by the way. I remember she got Bruce Springsteen. I'm not a fan, I'm not a big fan. That's a bad habit I have. I only like people that like me. So That is stream of consciousness. Donald Trump at his best. And I don't understand, Brian, and you're going to help me. I don't understand how people, that's an innocuous comment. It doesn't mean much, but it does tell volumes about the man. How do people justify supporting him?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because Ronnie was upset about a post on Facebook from one of, it's not her friends, but it was somebody she knew from New York who'd posted, and he is a homosexual. He's gay, obviously. And
thank you for explaining that. I was kind of confused about if a man were homosexual. I mean, he would be gay. Okay, I got it. Thank
all
you.
right. So, long story short, he has this long post about why he's voting for Trump, and he says he's voting really for the entire ticket. He said, and he went to this litany about why he's voting. He says, it's not really just Trump. It's the fact that I support the military. I don't want to see dead babies. He went through this whole list. You know, it was like the clock was right twice. You know, and that was, and the rest was just complete exaggeration. Now, to the Republican, it would make sense. But I'm looking at it now. I'm saying, okay, first of all, he's gay. If you were going to vote for a candidate, you would never think they would vote for Trump.
True.
Because he's probably homophobic, doesn't treat LGBTQ very well, especially because of the religious right. So you wouldn't expect these people to vote this way. And you know, we've known some people who are this way. But I think it pretty much is this. Now, he's saying it's this whole slate of things. And what I'm saying is, if you look at every one of those things, it's a reaction to the way they think about us. In other words, we want to kill babies. We want to destroy the military. Everything they say is untrue. But if you come about it from their angle, they think it's true. They've taken the propaganda, and here we go again. I mean, how do you fight it? And the only way I can say to do it is you fight fire with fire. If these people are that ignorant, like you're saying here, like look at what he's saying here, then maybe what we have to do is, put inane memes up there and just full of stupidity. I don't know. I don't know how to train a stupid person how to build a nuclear weapon. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem to work.
Well, I wish I could disagree with you, but I can't. Not because what you're saying is true. I think we just have to face the fact. And this past few days, most of the Democrats I know are feeling something close to elation. I think many felt that Joe Biden, even being a good president and certainly being a good person, was destined or fated to lose to Donald Trump. And Joe Biden did something extraordinary. It's extraordinary. He gave up a chance to keep the most powerful position in the world. Being president of the United States is still the most powerful position in the world. The only thing that would rival it, and it's not even close, is the Pope, I suppose, or something like that. But president still of the United States is still bigger. And so he does this. And Ms. Harris comes in, and she's an unknown, right? And so, in a certain sense, she was a failed presidential candidate. People felt she'd flamed out. And with the vice presidency, you really don't know what's going on for a long time because they're behind the scenes. It's rare, right? You hear them? And she comes out, and there was just a spark. There was just, I don't know how else to describe it. And suddenly it's a race, and it's a race that is now more than winnable. It could go to a pretty substantial win.
Right.
Now, what does all that have to do with Trump's people? We're never, ever, ever going to get more than a handful of them to switch sides. Although, it is interesting, a new group was formed today, Republicans for Harris. And there's some, pretty big names on there. We know you could start with the 40 of the 44 of his closest associates who refused to endorse him. Not one, I just posted before we came on. It's obvious, but it's really struck me as something. Do you realize this is the third time he's run for president, Trump, and not one former president of either party has endorsed him? That's never happened before, to my knowledge, in politics. I mean, I don't think so. Well, Sandy, first of all, and I'm not saying you're wrong, of course, I would question how many of those people were plants. Yeah, that's the problem. Let's deal with one thing. We'll come right back. Okay, so we're talking about the battle is not, Brian, as you know, the battle is not, the election battle is not trying to convert Trump supporters to us. I don't think Kamala seems to have touched a nerve with the young, women, minorities, all the votes that we need. And something's going on there. And I think it's good. We won't, however, win, with sneaking Trump voters over to our side. It's not going to happen. So, I still think, it's a third, and a third. And so there's a third for Trump, give or take. Third for us, give or take. And a third is trying to fight for those votes. That's the third we have to target. Now back to what Sandy said, and just picking up on that. If I have one piece of caution, I got burnt this week, and I'm trying to be good at it. Don't believe or repost anything that you're not absolutely 100% sure of.
Gotcha.
There is nothing out there. There's nothing out there on social media that is necessarily in and of itself true. Okay? It doesn't matter. And you can't even when you see it. I don't know if you saw the black woman who supposedly met Trump in Georgia at a Chick-fil-A and hugged him. And then he brought her out to another rally. There's no way. She's a plant. There's no way that she's some woman he met. We know that he pays, or his campaign pays for actors. They get seat fillers. And there seems to be this big thing too, which I find interesting. Who has the bigger rallies? Who has more people there? Who cares? We care about the votes on election day, number one. And then we care, Brian, a lot about what you've been talking about all the time. Right. That's only step one. Then we move to step two. And to be honest with you, step two is more troubling now than step one.
Between November 5th and January 20th or 21st,
right.
That's the real problem. And anything.
You're absolutely right. But Trump, if Kamala can keep it up, and I think she can, she's energetic. I mean, just look at the pictures, right? Look at the pictures of Trump and her. An old, grumpy, I don't even care I don't know if you see it, whatever. He's just a grumpy old son of a bitch. That's all. And stupid, all those things. And Kamala is beyond energetic, right? I mean, she's out there. She's doing this thing.
I have no idea what Gary's talking about here.
Not even repost I don't know. Well, anyway.
That's Sandy's, but I see the previous comment was a smiley. I don't know what else to do.
Well, don't worry about it. If, it were, Trump is the kind of person that gets, concerned about size. And probably, quite honestly, if Stormy Daniels is right and small hands are a sign of a small phallic instrument, maybe that's where it started or whatever. But whatever it is, I had the biggest crowd. You didn't have the biggest crowd.
He's a megalomaniac, and then in the lies.
Yeah,
he can't stand anything that isn't grandiose in his opinion.
Correct. And you know what? If you really want to pick on him, if I had as much money as he has, now he doesn't have as much as he says he has, but he has money. Okay, he has far more money than I do.
He has access to money.
Yeah, money. I would dress better. His clothes are ill-fitting. I mean, you notice that? I mean, they're really like frumpy. Assholes.
I don't get it. I still. Gary, could you put in the chat exactly? We're oblivious to this. We don't know.
Anyway, let's move here now. Next is Trump walks in to the Black Journalists Conference. Now, I don't know if everybody realizes this. There was tremendous division with the Black journalists about whether Trump should appear or not.
Right. That I do know.
And that's a problem. I can see both sides of that. All right. In some sense, even though nobody in their right mind would think they were endorsing him, you would be giving him a platform, right? Just by having him on. The other side of that would be, but you need to expose him every chance you get in a situation that he doesn't control. So I'm going to come down on the side of the Black journalists who believed Trump should have been invited. I think he should have, and it worked out just the way that I had hoped that it would. What happens is he is asked questions that he doesn't want to answer, but for the first time that I recall, and maybe people out there do, there was actually challenge back to him. Right. Especially by Rachel Scott. And so I think you could walk away with 4 or 5 takeaways from that, all of which are good for us, none of which are necessarily
He's
good.
Just going to anger the African American community across the country.
Well,
with doing, and I'm actually glad that happened because this is going to spur people on. Say this guy is not our friend, and he's abusing us.
So first of all, he questioned Harris's Black identity. Now, she is biracial. Okay, no question. You can be biracial. You can be.
I got to move back a little bit here.
I have no idea what's going on. I'm all confused. Yes, and let's not forget the reason he was late was because he was a dispute about him not wanting. Yes,
right. He wanted to.
We mentioned that earlier.
Check me.
Yeah, and of course.
I've noticed that's a different show.
Anyway, what happened? And then that's true. And he blamed her for the equipment malfunctioning. Well, first of all, I wouldn't believe anything out of Trump's mouth.
Right.
I've not seen anything to date that the equipment malfunctioned. I think the entire thing, at this point, was his people working out this fact-checking thing. But be that as it may, she comes out, and the first thing he does is he questions the vice president's, racial. Now, what I find fascinating about that is his vice president has children who are biracial. He's married to an Asian Indian woman, right?
Right.
2 children. So either, again, you never know with Trump. Either he's too stupid to understand biraciality, if that were a word, which it's not, or he just doesn't care. But that certainly did not win friends and influence people. And especially if you're of the belief that I am, that he has every vote he's going to get. When he goes to bed tonight, the only votes he's going to lose are those who die between now and the election. I don't see him gaining any, right? So he's speaking to a base.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, though, because
I know
he knows it's the swing state. So now, what does he have to do? It isn't the votes. It's these fake electors. This everything. And in my opinion, if you remember, again, I'm getting crazy now, but he had all these different things set up to block Biden from becoming president. And the final block he had left was the violence on January 6th, because he had hoped that he could do this prior with a lot of different
Correct.
things. So this is what I'm talking about, because as you said, he even said, I don't really need the votes.
Yeah.
He does need the votes, but it's not going to matter because I don't care what happens. It's going to be close in Michigan. It's going to be close in Pennsylvania. We're probably going to win. And then that's when the gauntlet comes down.
Correct. The only thing I would say to that is it is different this time. The last election, he had the power of the White House, the presidency, and the government behind him. This time he does not. Okay, so it is a little different.
I'm going to go back to that.
But I'm wondering, you know, what should I say? I wonder just kind of what he was thinking when he did that. But of course, he doubles down as he always does, and then he talks again, as he has in the past, about black jobs. Now, I mean, he says, and she says, what are what is black jobs? Of course, black jobs have a bad connotation. Okay, right. I mean, there is no such thing as black people seeking black jobs. What that is, it's a code for white people saying inferior or demeaning jobs, right?
Exactly.
And we know that, and he knows that, and everybody should know that. But what he does, he can't even like wrap anything around the truth at all. He said millions and millions of people are coming across the border to take black jobs. Well, if you if you take that literally, if you see the jobs that Hispanic immigrants are performing, I don't think they're the highest paying jobs in America. Of course not. They're like the immigrant experience everywhere. They're starting, at the bottom and working up. But to me, I would, if I were black, I would find it tremendously demeaning that Donald Trump, or anyone for that matter, would designate jobs as black jobs. I mean, there should be no job in America in which a person's race either makes him eligible or makes him ineligible for that. Now, we all know things are, not equal. There's class, there's race, but I'm talking on the surface. So again, he's 0 for 2, right? Then, which was great, he had to start defending Vance. I'd love to know what goes on in Mar-a-Lago when the inner sanctum circle, whoever that is, starts talking about Vance. So, Brian, I'm going to ask you right now. What do you think is the choice? And we're just speculating. Do you think knowing Trump as well as you know him, and that's from his public persona, do you think he is happy with the choice he made, unhappy with the choice he made?
Well, no. First of all, he's angry at the situation now because the way it's turned out, and he's going to, as he usually does, project that on us. He's the one who did it, but he's going to make us the victim of it. Now, he doesn't want to prostrate himself by giving up Vance, but he may have to.
What do you think, Brian? And I'm not questioning. I think there's a real possibility of that. What do you think? Okay, let's look at Vance. Let's just run that down. So far, he's been 3 weeks, whatever he's been out there, right? Not long, not even a month. So we've got him. And ladies and gentlemen, a lot of this is not true. I understand that, but it's out there. It's Colbert's even making jokes about it. So I mean, it is national. A, sex with a sofa. B, dolphin porn. C,
weird.
Unhappy women with cats. You've got the gay man who claims that he went on a date with Vance. Nothing wrong with that, okay? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, says he has a sock fetish. And that begins. And then Tim Wirtz, the governor, and excuse me, in Minnesota, and also in the running, I guess if you believe what we read, it's down to between three people for Kamala's vice presidential choice, comes up with this word, they're weird. And they are. I mean, they really are. I mean, I'm just looking. I'm fascinated with what's going on. So give me a minute to read it here. I don't. People are jumping. They say she didn't represent their hardcore American black experience. Well, I think. Well, okay. Let's be honest. There is no such thing as the black experience.
Right, like it's a monolithic thing where they just.
Yes. Race centers, but so what happens is you're going to get people who say, I've heard two comments. overall before this that circulate, which bear some validity on it. One is that she was upper middle class in the start, right? And that's not the Black experience. And the other was that she was a prosecutor, and a true Black person would not become a prosecutor. Well, I disagree with the second, because I think sometimes, number one, even if you would have sympathy and empathy for the background.
Folks, we had an internet outage for a second here. So we'll have to wait for Dave. We'll be back. All right, there you are. We just went offline for a second. We're here. We're on right now. But for whatever happened, Dave, we were bounced. My God. Was that a lightning bolt? Really come up from the bottom of that table? That desk? We'll find out. There you are. Dave, we went offline for about 30 seconds and then came right back on.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me on, but I guess... So it was on your end.
On my end, yeah. I don't know what happened. It just said you just lost connection.
What do what? We can try. If I convince people, but I believe that Trump is a horrible.
I don't know. I think I'm still on. If I'm still on, tell me, folks. I think I am. I think he's off. Dave, you keep popping in and out. Is something going on there? Or is it?
No,
we're on now.
No, it said your stream was interrupted.
It's really screwed up. But you're on right now, so
I know. Well, we'll keep.
I think they're trying to iron out what's going on there with the Gary thing with this site here. I don't know where this is going. We're just going to have to kind of forget it, David. We'll listen to the comments. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
All right, Dave.
Well,
go ahead.
No, it is. Look, and she's just. Well, she is. Again. Does it really matter?
That's funny, Anthony. Judy's yelling at him.
Probably true. Actually, she's going to be pissed as hell. I'll tell you why. Anyway. So yeah, no. It's.
And by the way, everybody, if there's any kind of intensity that needs to be cooled down, Dave is the official cooler.
I am
our
the cooler.
site. He is.
I am the cooler down because I really don't care. No. So let's get back here to this thing. We're talking about should we get upset about these things? And no. Don't want this stream to happen. I'm thinking. Did you notice? Both times it went out, I was saying Trump is a horrible, horrid man. Boom, off. Come back on. Trump is a horrible, horrid man. Boom, it goes off. But said a couple more takeaways. I think which I think is very important. It's going to come back as be a crucial point in the race was Trump's fiasco in front of the black journalists. It was. Then he tries to bully Rachel Scott the whole time. I've never heard questions addressed to me in this most horrible manner. She asked you a question, fuckwad. That's all she did. She asked you a question. I posted, I believe it to be true. She is an American hero. Okay? She is. Now, Jake Tapper, there are people, I mean, Rachel's just, she's kind of down here in the pecking order, right? But she did what they all should be doing. Every journalist in America should be doing is holding him accountable every single time.
Right.
I said before, I said before, not that, I'm not special, but now I can't even remember the number. I think it was 16. Remember when they say something in the debate when they asked the question about, did you say, soldiers were suckers or losers or whatever? He said, I did not. And they said, well, he said, I have 16 witnesses. All I would have asked him is, Mr. President or Mr. Ex-President or whatever, name those 16 witnesses. And people say to me, well, he's just gone off. I said, yeah, he's gone off the deep end. You know what my next question would have been? Mr. President, could I ask you, could you name those 16 witnesses? You have to, as a journalist, you have to hold him in contempt because he holds you in contempt. He holds the press in contempt. He holds the American people in contempt. He holds anyone who disagrees with his lunch choice in contempt, right? He probably holds Burger King in contempt because he likes McDonald's.
Right.
And Jeff, that does piss him off. There's reports that he's actually said that well, yeah, you were, I would do it just to piss him off, of course. But the idea of it is, if there's only one president at a time. I think I'm correct on that, right? I mean, so what do you want to call him?
They said
Ex-president?
that Dick Cheney was president too, but who knows?
Well, it was, yeah. I think, Marty, I would tend to agree with you. But what I find interesting. Well, let me finish. There's one more thing to say about this interview. Like I said, we'll come back. It sparked furor and fury, both furor and fury, and that's good for us. Okay, Trump did not win any votes in that debacle. Then he comes out and compounds it by saying, I don't think I want to debate Kamala.
Well, let me ask you this. On this, what do you think would have happened if Biden won that debate? Is it best that he lost that debate now? I mean, I'm just asking you.
Do you want an honest answer to that?
Yes, I do.
I always hate when people do that. No, I want a dishonest. Of course you want an honest answer. It changed the face, the focus, the direction of the race. Had Joe Biden won that, we'd still be worried. It would still be Joe Biden waiting for the next slip. All right?
Right.
It would have been. We don't expect slips from Miss Harris. And by slips, I mean age slips. It's been said by a couple politicians, I wouldn't mind if they put a fifth face up on Mount Rushmore when all this is done, assuming Trump is crushed or loses by one vote. I don't care. Biden could be a fifth face up on Mount Rushmore. He will mean that much to democracy. He will mean that much to... Gary, I got to ask this question. Are you smoking tonight, or what's going on over there, buddy? What's going on? The angel said, where the hell did that come from? Anyway, but you're keeping us entertained, so that's good on this end. What? Okay, let me ask you this, Brian. Do you see any vulnerabilities in Harris that we should be worried about? I mean, I don't right now.
Well, I don't think there's anything that they could come up with in the future. She's been vetted. I don't see what they're going to get her on.
Well, and the things that are out there, she slept her way to the top. She did have sexual relations with Willie Brown. He wasn't.
Look, let's just. Let's go back to what we said.
Right.
She's taken over the reins. It's gone into a different direction. she's done really, really well. She's picked it up. She's either tied or leading.
Correct.
It's going to force them to do something.
Well,
More so
yes.
than what they did before. So, where do they go with this? I think that's the big question. We know, as I said, they're going to attempt all the different things. It's not just one thing that they're going to do. It's like as if they have a flow chart there. If it doesn't happen here, we're going to go here. But at every section, they're going to. It's going to involve. We've got to win. And we'll do anything to win. So I think like you kind of alluded to, this is the best thing that could have happened. It's turned everything around, but it only takes care of the vote. And as we know, that's not the ball game completely now. It's the electoral college.
Brian, all I can say to that is
Supreme Court.
Right now, you got to win the ball game first.
Right, you got to take care of what you can take care of. I get that. And that's what you're saying.
And that's it. And then
that's in your control.
I'm sure.
Yes.
And I'm 100% sure that there are people far more knowledgeable than you or me or anybody that watches this channel. Yes, they've been saying that anti-Gaia. That's true. It also depends on who she picks for vice president.
Yeah, I think she can't go wrong with the top 3 or 4 anyway. It wouldn't matter.
I think if you want the
surprising one, I don't know.
If you want the safe choice right now, it's the governor of Minnesota. And why I say that?
Walz.
2 reasons. They're all qualified, right? Shapiro has a few things that could make it a little rocky for him. One is that he is Jewish and has spoken quite firmly in ways that would not bring in the Palestinian support group. That's only a couple states, but it's Michigan. It's that.
Another comment. All right, Dave. You're gonna go to Dave mode.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, he was friends with Dave
Gary.
all the time, so
if I really cared what you say, I would be devastated. You notice that I'm smiling, so I really don't care what you think. Thank you. All right, so we move on. So Shapiro has some reasons not.
The whole reason why you would pick Shapiro is to win Pennsylvania. That is it.
Correct. Now, what about?
And if you pick
Senator Kelly, the concern there, and it's the valid concern, you may win the presidency, but you may lose Arizona. And that could cost you the Senate.
Oh, right. So, the Senate. I got you. Okay,
yeah,
right.
So,
you want to pick a governor. Then
right.
Why not pick Whitmer?
And Whitmer, of course, is a double down women. You don't want that. And
I'm going to ask. I know. Gary, going back to Gary here. Gary said a couple weeks
ago. What are you doing, Gary?
He was the one who did start this thing. You can't pick 2 of each. He said that on Divided We Stand, and I get that.
You know what?
If you think about it, we shouldn't have that attitude if we're fair people. I mean, but I know what you're saying. This is a pragmatic situation. We're going to be pragmatic.
Well, there are, if you ask me who would I like to have, I think it would be Buttigieg.
Well, they were just talking about it here.
And I'm just saying, ideally, I think he's, but the good thing is they all bring something to the table, all right? I mean,
so then
there's
does
5.
It matter? Does it really matter if it's one of those?
Well, according to Donald Trump, it doesn't. He actually said in his defense of.
But that means it does, because he, at least for
he's just
Democrats.
Really, and I know there's just, no. There have been races, Brian, over the years, and we can hone in on Kennedy Johnson race, where having the vice president really did matter, right? And there's some others. But, I say in Arizona in some sort of offhanded way, I read somewhere, which could be inaccurate. Well, you know what, again, Sandy, that's another reason. It's not just the false, the misinformation, the propaganda, the big lies, AI, all the stuff that's out there. There's also reporters, and I was guilty of this too. Sometimes you speculate. For example, she's going to make the announcement, Kamala's going to make the announcement Tuesday in Philadelphia, right? All of a sudden, people take that as it could be something with Shapiro because he's governor, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that. So again, we will know Tuesday. I don't think they might stay home. That is, we said that. I mean, but you know what?
I don't think their vice presidential candidate is that important compared to.
Well, I think
it used to be with the North and the South, but other than that, I don't think.
Yeah, and Andy Bashir. My understanding is he's removed himself.
Really?
Both. Yeah, Bashir kind of said, I want to kind of stay with it. Yeah. I mean, and we'll see. I mean, the nice thing is, I guess you could say, that there's a deep bench for 20.
Well, let's just let her pick it. Anyway, whomever she picks.
Oh yeah, I don't care.
Fine with me. I don't care which one, because right now we've got to win, and we're going to go with her, and that's it. That's it.
And yeah, and I would see it that way. I think we've said it all along. And so, we'll know more about her pick on Tuesday. But the last thing I want to say tonight is this. When your country's divided, which it is now, and Brian, I announced last week that Harris would win the race. I'm also going to say that no matter how much time I have left on the planet, we'll never see the United States united again unless something like a war or an alien invasion. And even then, I think
and I'd root for the aliens, by the way.
Yeah, but we won't. But groups form, and they always have. And what I kind of like about this, Harris, is you have the black women for Harris. What was that? 144,000 or 100,000. I mean, these are numbers never seen before. Zoom calls, that kind of stuff. So now you've got, like I said, they just formed today, and I think they're going to have a big Zoom thing with young people. They follow as more probably than older people follow their influencers, and TikTok is on fire. She passed Taylor Swift for mentions on TikTok. That's pretty damn unbelievable. Huh? Maybe I've been smoking. I just don't get Gary tonight. I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe I'm having a flashback or something. I don't know. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Peacock, for your fine ratings of We Both Suck. What I got up this morning, and maybe Gary knew this. What I wanted to do is suck. Royally. I don't mean like suck like this. I mean suck personality-wise. And I spent all day saying to myself, okay, how can I royally suck? And then it came to me. I said, I could royally suck if Brian would delay the show by half an hour, which I sent out my thought messages, which are very powerful, and were able to do that. Of course, I blamed it on Brian, but it was really my thought messages. And there are many ways. And you know what? I had so much fun sucking that I think I'm going to try this tomorrow to suck even more, if I can suck more. I don't know that I can suck more. I'm not sure. How much can you suck? I don't know. Can you suck more? Well, that's something we'll find out, right? I mean, Gary did say that we both sucked. Now I'm kind of upset because I think I sucked more than you. I think tonight I was the suckier of the two of us. I'm not sure, all right, but I believe that that's probably what might have happened. But then tomorrow, that challenge is, how do I suck more? And the reason I say this, in all sincerity, is this. I had a really good upbringing. I had a phenomenal father, phenomenal mother. And that's it. And the guy, thank you.
You did have a compliment, too, by the way.
What? Oh, no. What
Sandy
I wanted to
said
say
you're
was,
wonderful.
What I want to say, well, thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. Auntie Gaia, thank you, because I now have a pattern to find out how I need to outsuck J.D. Vance tomorrow. So the challenge has been given. But anyway, back to my father, my closing remarks. Dad, thank you for this. He taught me a lot of things. And he set me down one time. Well, I'm making this up, but it might have happened. I don't know. No, he set me down and said, son, whatever you do, be good at it. And I really took that message to heart. So tomorrow, when I try to be the suckiest human being that I can be, like instead of be all you can be, be as sucky as you can be tomorrow. I have my work cut out for me, but I do have role models. Let me name just a couple before I go. To be sucky, I've got Donald Trump, correct? I've got J.D. Vance, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I've got Mitch McConnell, correct?
Correct.
I've got Laura Loomer. I've got Lauren Boebert. I can be I could cross-dress and pretend I was Marjorie Taylor Greene. I got Matt Gaetz. There's a whole list. And I've even got good friends from a long time ago, like Gary Peacock. All these people I can think of tomorrow as I try to be the suckiest human being in America, because I'm not going to play second fiddle to Brian. I don't want him tied with me in the sucky contest. I don't want him to be in front of me in the sucky contest. I want to win. I'm competitive by nature. My grandpappy. Yeah, my grandpappy, he probably sucked too. We come from a long line of suckers in our family. Brian, take us away.
I didn't expect the show to be about the threads tonight, but that just goes to show you we do follow the threads.
We do pay attention, and we
pay attention.
We're very
tonight
responsible.
was like Peyton Place, but it was happening.
Talk to you later, bro.
All right, we're saying goodbye.
I'm saying, look, I can't just flow into suckiness. It does come somewhat natural to me, but I'm gonna have
just
to
cut it off. Like, to suck even worse, I'm just gonna not say anything in the middle of a sentence.
No, I got to plan. You can't have unplanned suckiness of the
Right.
distinctions and the magnitude that I want. We're talking about suckiness that could tear down buildings. If that were possible. That's what we're really talking about.
And I'm in trouble here, and you're fucking tardy.
I love you, Gary.
Yes,
good friend.
You do. All right. On that note, and everybody else out there, thank you for the interesting evening. You just never know what's going to happen on Divided We Stand. Tonight, we're proud of it. We did suck tonight, but as far as it was like good sucky show. Is it Rotten Tomatoes? Like, it's so bad that it was good. I don't know. All right, Dave. See ya.